All right, hey guys, super excited to start my weekly Q&A video. Reason for this is my business is doing great, and I really want to start branching into the online space. And the best way to do that is honestly putting out more content to actually help everyone understand nutrition, really convince everyone that I know my crap and that I know what I'm doing. And also I want just everyone to have access to the same knowledge that I have access to and what I end up talking to with most of my clients all the time. So if you have any questions that aren't going to get answered, or you come up with questions during all of this, send me an email, subscribe to my email list, send me a message on Instagram. If you don't follow me, definitely do follow me at claire.claritynutrition and send me a message. We can figure out your nutrition or answer any questions that you guys may have about nutrition. Questions don't have to be limited to nutrition. You'll kind of see one of the last questions I'll answer today doesn't go about nutrition at all, and it kind of is just like a random question, which I love. So if you have any questions, definitely send them to me, and I'm really excited. All feedback, I guess positive feedback, is greatly appreciated. So I have a lot to get through, and I tend to ramble all the time. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. The first question is an in-depth one, so I probably won't answer most of the questions that I got because I got a ton. I'll save some for next week, and I'll make sure that I send you a personal message answering your question, so you're not having to wait a full week for me to get in contact with you. So the first question is probably one that everyone has, including me, something that I've struggled with in the past, is how to do nutrition on a budget. So eating healthy tends to be expensive, especially when you don't realize, what you're doing. If you're not going to plan it, like you could easily drop $200 at the grocery store. I've been guilty of it. I'm like, oh cool, I see this supplement, I see avocados, I see broccoli, I see ghee, I see this, I see grass-fed organic steaks, and then I get to the counter and I'm spending like $200. Doesn't need to be that way. So the first thing is grocery stores. So that's going to be the first thing. You do not have to shop at like a Whole Foods or a Trader Joe's. I do most of my shopping at Harris Teeter, which is the local grocery store in Charleston, basically because when I was in college in North Carolina, also at Harris Teeter, so I've had a Vic card forever. There's Publix, any other grocery store. If you're going to shop at Buy Low or Food Lion, that's fine. If that's what you can afford, go for it. I'd rather eat healthy but cheap than not eat healthy at all just because you can't afford what is being sold at like a higher end grocery store like Whole Foods or Trader Joe's. I will say sometimes though, like Trader Joe's and Whole Foods has pretty decent options, so just be open for everything. Next is kind of one of the buying in bulk stores, so doing like a BJ's or Costco or Sam's card or Sam's membership. Those are going to be incredibly beneficial if you're on a budget. Yes, it requires spending money on the front end, but you're buying things in bulk. They have a pretty decent, I know Costco has a pretty decent online, or not online, what's the word? Pretty decent organic section. So you're able to buy a lot of foods a little bit cheaper, which is going to help you. If you're not close to a Costco or a Sam's Club or BJ's, totally fine. I don't have one and I manage just fine. But just find the grocery store that you're comfortable with, go from there. Next is going to be plan. Always plan ahead. If you do not walk into the grocery store without a plan, not only are you buying crap, but you're also just going to spend way more money than you ever really intended. So idea is that you want to structure your meals for the week. I have made a post recently that I do not like meal prepping, but I do prepare enough food that I have set meals throughout my entire week. So what I do is I come up with 2 prepared meals that I want to eat. And what I would do, and this is going to be either a breakfast, lunch, or a dinner for me. I eat a little bit more than most people typically do. So for like your average person, what I would say is just plan 3 meals a day. I would prep like a dinner, and then from there, go from there. In terms of buying meals. So I'll break down kind of the meals. So the first thing that I always do is I plan some sort of big meal that is all thrown in together. Literally, I just have to microwave it and I'm set to go. The reason for this one is if I'm in a bind, it saves me from having a hanger attack, which if anyone knows me personally, they know is a huge problem. Had like a temper tantrum one time in Target, but we're not going to talk about it. And then so in addition to just doing that, I also throw in like a ton of vegetables, protein, fats, and everything. So it literally covers all my bases. And I always have it in the morning for breakfast, although some people don't want like a chili or beef stew for breakfast. I don't really care. I'll eat anything. So it's going to help you. You're always going to cover your bases. You're always going to get a serving of vegetables. Even if your day sucks, you have one meal that's good. And it's hearty, rich, whatever. The next is that you can actually prepare all this stuff in bulk pretty cheap. So I'll kind of use myself for an example. I made a meal. My meal this week was like a chicken curry dish. So literally to make this, I used a can of almond or coconut milk, some curry powder, some onion, red pepper, like bell peppers, some mushrooms that I had sitting around, like cooking mushrooms, some carrots, and then 2 pounds of chicken thighs. Chicken thighs are cheaper than chicken breast for one. And then also, I personally love a lot of protein, but if you don't really need that much protein and you're not eating as much as I do, you're working yourself up, go ahead, drop that to 1. You really don't need to have 2, so that's going to save some money there on your end. And then I threw in some like a can of sweet peas. So I literally had like 4 different types of vegetables, the fat with the coconut milk, and protein. Literally took me 20 minutes to cook because I use an Instant Pot, but just you could throw it in the stovetop, completely do all your cooking for you, and then you're good to go. That meal lasts me like 7 days. I've made it like 3 or 4 times because it's so good, and it's just like go-to meal. So I didn't have a breakfast this morning, but I had it for lunch right before I got ready to make this video. And this meal, literally for me, when I did 2 pounds chicken breast, it cost me like $30 to make and buy all the ingredients at the store. If you only do 1 pound of chicken, that's gonna be about like $20 to you guys. If you eat it for 7 days, that is $3 a meal. Like, you really cannot beat that. Like, now you can't get a salad at Chick-fil-A for cheaper than that. You actually spend like close to $10 to do that. So it seems like a lot, like, oh, $30 a meal, but this meal's lasting you forever. And this is the case for every like meal that I've ever prepped that way. So when I do like a chili or some sort of beef stew, I have a vegetable stew that I made. It had like a pound of ground bison, some zucchini, cauliflower, tomatoes, you name it. That meal I think literally cost me like $30 to make, but it lasted me. I'm on my last serving of that, and that lasted me close to 10 days. So 30 divided by 10 cost me $3 to make it. And that's one meal. So if you guys, what I recommend doing, if you've never really tracked nutrition, is just have 3 meals a day with 2 snacks. That's going to be your best way to go. That covers one of your meals. Like, you're set to go. Next is going to be like a breakfast. So with breakfast, what I recommend doing is buying things in bulk again that can be made either the night before or that morning. Really, really quick, really good to go. 2 options that I typically encourage. One's going to be kind of like an egg scramble. Eggs aren't usually that expensive. If you are worried about eggs being expensive, mix it with egg whites. You can buy a carton of egg whites for $3, and that'll last you close to 2, maybe 3 weeks, even if you don't do that much. Throw in some eggs, you're good to go. And you can throw like vegetables that you have sitting around. So I always do like onions and peppers and broccoli. All that stuff is really cheap to buy at the store. I cut it up ahead of time, and I'm just ready to go. That's going to be a really good option for you. Another way to sneak in calories in there is cook with fats, with oils. They're cheaper and they're going to go a long way. Next one for breakfast is going to be like some sort of oatmeal. I typically a recipe that I made a couple weeks ago. It was like you could do either overnight or that morning of. If you can get like steel cut oats at the grocery store, literally gonna cost you like $4, but it's a huge tub, so it's going to go a long way. Like I can have a thing of oats last for 6 months, and it cost me $4 to buy. So it's really good. And I will just prepare just like a cup of water. Don't have to do almond milk, regular milk, or coconut milk. That'll cost money. Go water. Have some butter in there, but like really don't need to. I would throw in a scoop of protein powder, because that's gonna flavor it, make it a little bit more filling. Steel cut oats are gonna be better because there's more protein in there anyway, so it's gonna go longer for you in terms of being able to eat. You're not gonna get to 10 o'clock in the morning and need like a snack, because you're going to be a lot fuller. Protein powder can be a little bit expensive. True Nutrition is probably the best brand out there because it is super cheap and very high quality. You can get a bag of protein for like $8, and they always run really good deals if you're on their newsletters for like free shipping. They have a recent one. If you spent $75, you got a free pound of protein. So I know paying $75 is a lot, but if you're buying $75 worth of protein, which is a lot of protein, and then you get a free bag on top of that, you're saving, $10-15, and you're going to eventually use it. But back to the oatmeal. Scoop of protein, your oats, some water, frozen fruit. So frozen vegetables and frozen fruit are going to go a long way. They're also cheaper. Throw some frozen fruit in there, leave it overnight, you're set to go. That meal probably cost you $1 or $2 to make. And then lunches, kind of that last meal is, I always do stir fries. Same thing with like the egg scrambles, the food sitting around. Some other ideas is at the grocery store, going up to the counter and getting like 4 steaks or 4 burgers of meat. That's going to cost money. So what I typically do is I get like pre-cut and cooked chicken strips that are sold at least at Whole Foods. I always get it there. This week I got like salmon burgers, turkey burgers, regular burgers that are all really good. They were really cheap, and like I literally ate the salmon burgers this week, but I now have 3 more weeks of burgers and turkey burgers to eat, and I think all that stuff cost me $15. So you can easily buy some of this prepared stuff ahead of time. That's quick to make, easy to make, and not gonna like ruin your budget. You don't have to sit there and buy all these crazy ingredients. That's gonna really blow your budget. Just keep everything really, really simple. Buy in bulk. Don't buy organic. You don't have to do that now. Buy sweet potatoes, cook them up, mash them, and then just have a prepped thing of those sitting by for like a lunch or something like that. And then for snacks, like I would keep fruit readily available. That's going to be pretty cheap. Trying to think if there's other ways to kind of get around the budget. I know for me personally, I spend $400 a month on groceries. I know sometimes this may seem a little bit much. I don't know what other people spend on groceries. I would say a lot of people who eat healthy like I do spend way more than that. When I moved down to Charleston, I was completely on my own. I was on student loans. I also knew I was going to have to eventually pay them off, so I really wanted to use as little of my loans as possible. And then as I was graduating from grad school, I was now starting a business, so I had a ton of money saved up, but I knew a lot of that was going to go to the business. And so I've always capped it at $100 a week, and that's always sustained me. Some days some weeks I'll spend like $80, some just a little bit more, but it always tends to average out. The next thing about like shopping on a budget is realistically what can you spend on groceries. So I'll use myself for an example. I live by myself. I don't really go out. If I do anything, it's like a girls' night, and it's at someone's place. Someone has made food. Someone brings like beverages, and the other like brings some game or something like that. Literally costs us like no money. We're not going out. I don't drink often. If you drink a ton and you're telling me that you can't afford food, like money for food, but you're spending $100 a week on just purely getting intoxicated, then I would encourage you to cut that out, because now you're going to take $100 a week and actually spend it on food. So when I was setting up my budget, like if I look at things that I indulge on, very, very little stuff. I made the decision to move out of my 3-bedroom, 1-bath house downtown with 2 roommates to a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment kind of outside the city. And that was a little bit extra money. I spent a little bit extra on gas, but I literally don't go out. I don't go on I don't spend a lot of money. I don't do online shopping. So look at like other ways that you spend your money. Look at your budget and be really honest about how you're spending your money. Can you cut things out? Can you reduce things? I did this like 3 months ago when the savings that I did have started dwindling pretty fast. I was a little shocked because there was a lot of overhead that I initially had with the business, and then I also had moved, so I was just kind of like blowing through cash, and it wasn't the greatest feeling at all. And then I started realizing like I sometimes shop online. I sometimes go to Lululemon because I have a sweat discount and I get 25% off, but like it's still money that I'm spending, even if it is like a really good deal. I was buying a ton of new stuff for the apartment, so I kind of cut a lot of that stuff out, and realistically was like, okay, do I want to spend money on like furnishing my apartment to the very best capabilities it can be, or do I really want to buy Lululemon clothes when I have plenty of clothes and I do just fine with the ones I have, or do I actually want to eat good food? And I decided to eat good food because I love food. So make that decision, be realistic. Like, what is your salary? I would bet a lot of money that my salary right now is really low compared to yours. And I eat close to 3,000 calories a day, and I spend $400 on groceries a month. I rarely eat out, and I make it all work. So I would encourage you to like be realistic about what you're doing, and what can you fit in, and then from there just plan. Get an idea of how much things cost. Don't make it complex. When you're looking online at recipes, like, and it's saying thyme, oregano, rosemary, blah 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 blah. Can you find a cheaper recipe? So if you're making baked chicken, go for some salt, some thyme, and some rosemary. That's all you really need. You don't have to do some like these extravagant meals. Yeah, it's good, but a simple protein, vegetable, and carb is gonna go a long way. Snack on some fruit, you're good to go. You don't have to overcomplicate it. It's actually pretty easy to do. So I hope that answers your question. If you have any questions about it, just definitely send me a message. If you definitely do struggle, keep a lookout. In the next month or so, I will be launching my recipe book that I am making. That actually is how I've made it through the past 2 years as a grad student and as a business owner in my pretty early 20s, and I'm still able to make it all work. So I was able to find recipes, make foods that are simple but not a ton of ingredients, and they'll have some of these stew ideas and everything like that. So keep a lookout. It'll be free, and don't worry about that. All right, that was like 18 minutes of rambling on, so I'm doing a really good job. All right, next question is intra-workout nutrition and shakes. So this is kind of referencing a company that typically prescribes like an intra-workout shake. So what it is it's Gatorade. I think it's like a little bit of Gatorade or Gatorade powder and protein, and you drink it like half of it or a third of it like 15 minutes before your workout, and then kind of sip on it during, and then whatever is left you just drink afterwards. There's several reasons for this. I do have some of my opinions. I used to do this actually, and it was also when I was training in the morning, so it was a really good way to just like be able to wake up and do a CrossFit workout. There's benefits for it. So the benefits for it is the Gatorade is the people will say that you need that because the carbohydrates in the Gatorade is going to fuel your workout. the protein that you're getting in the protein shake is directly going to be used to form new muscle and help muscle building in a workout. Not necessarily the most accurate statement. It takes a little bit longer for like carbs to be used for like fuel in a workout. You're using glycogen when you're working out, especially this is pretty common in the CrossFit world, so this will kind of be relevant for CrossFitters. But like when you're doing high intensity sport, you're using glycogen, and it takes like I think like 24 hours for glycogen to be replenished, and then it takes 5 hours for any sort of food that you digest and you eat for it to actually be used as fuel in workouts. So in the intra-workout shake, it's not doing that stuff that they say that it does, but there is some benefits to it. So what scientifically is actually happening in your body when you're doing something like that is your the Gatorade is going to spike your blood sugar. That's going to give you the energy and the drive to kind of work out. The protein, honestly, is just helping you get your protein allotment in for the day. It's kind of like post-workout protein shakes are really, really good just to help you keep your protein levels up. I know for me, I'd have to eat like like a whole other serving of protein a day, and I have 4 meals with a pretty decent protein serving anyways. Having that post-workout protein shake does help me a ton with meeting that goal. And on my rest days, I end up doing a protein shake just to kind of help me get there. But, and then you kind of are supposed to, the idea is that you're sipping on it during, and that's supposed to help fuel you for the workout. I don't do this anymore. The reason for it is because Gatorade is a lot of sugar, and I really didn't want to put all that sugar in my body all the time. Also, sometimes I would get through these workouts and I just felt like crap drinking like thick Gatorade protein crap sweet stuff during a workout, especially in CrossFit when you're like running around. It's not super enjoyable. So what I ended up switching to is I would rather eat food for it. So what I would more encourage you to do instead of this intra-workout shake is like a 1-to-1 ratio of protein to carb meal, like an hour to 2 hours before your workout. The reason for that is that it's going to give you the blood sugar spike that you have. It's going to be a little bit more sustained because it's not just straight sugar like in the Gatorade. And then that's actually going to go to it's going to be benefiting your body in other ways other than just like preparing you for a workout. So it has some sort of nutrient value other than just like spiking your blood sugar. And then from there, what I would do pre-workout to help you, maybe you do need that boost, you can do pre-workout, you can do BCAAs, you can do creatine. I would say don't do pre-workout if you're working out in the afternoon. So if you're working out after 3, do not do workout. It's going to ruin your sleep. So don't do that. But those kind of options are going to help you get through a workout. If you're working out in the morning, so when I did this Gatorade shake, it's when I was working out at like 5 in the morning all the time. It was like so good to be able to wake up and get some fuel to be able to go and work out. But what I would recommend now, knowing what I know, is do like 10 grams of BCAAs. That's going to be way easier on your stomach, easier to drink, super easy to do. And then what I would encourage is a post-workout shake. So the only thing with an intra-workout shake, sometimes there's a complete benefit and necessity to do it. If you're doing crazy workouts all the time, they're like 2 hours long, and you're depleting all of your glycogen, you are totally going to need some sort of intra-workout nutrition. Sometimes people in like doing body composition changes or like physique shows do need an intra-workout shake for several reasons. But if you're doing like a 45-minute CrossFit workout, totally don't need it. There is like kind of one workout that I always like to reference where it was appropriate. So if you did the CrossFit Open this year, there was a workout. It was 18-2 and 18-2A, I think. The workout was 2 parts. The first part was just all metabolic conditioning. It was as fast as you can go, squats and burpees, and it really sucked. I mean, I would think my lungs were sore for like 2 days. My legs were fine, but my lungs were just completely shot. And then as soon as you finished, you had X amount of time, depends on how fast you went, for the Metcon, and you had to get a squat clean, like 1 rep, max out, whatever. 2 completely different energy profiles. I mean, one, you're sustaining, you're sprinting, and the other, you are literally using every amount of energy you have for one lift. All you got. You're literally just going through like ATP synthesis or ATP storage, done. So Patrick Vellner and Brent Fikowski did this demo in the open, and as soon as Vellner finished his 18.2A or 2, whatever it was, he finished his squat and burpee workout, he immediately started drinking an intra-workout shake. Completely appropriate. That would be one situation where it was incredibly important because, one, performance was necessary. He literally needed to like calm his body down from that workout to get ready to do a very technical lift. So that would be a position where it would be appropriate. CrossFit workout, not really super necessary. When we work out, we actually spike cortisol, and if you read my blogs, you kind of do know a little bit about the negative side of cortisol, but there's actually a ton of benefits for cortisol. When we work out, we spike our cortisol, and that's actually like what gets us through a workout. When you're up, when you're amped, like if you're ever gonna get, attacked by a bear, your heart starts racing, you're ready to like fight this bear. That's cortisol doing its job. It's getting adrenaline pumping, getting your body ready to just like fight. Carbs actually do kind of cut off cortisol, which is great for recovery, but if you're doing an intra-workout shake that has carbs through Gatorade, you're kind of shutting off a cortisol response, which is helping you get through a workout. So for those, I don't super recommend it. What I would more encourage is that pre-workout meal, maybe a pre-workout thing, just sip on water during the workout, and then have a post-workout shake. So what you want to do is repair all the damage that was done in the workout. That's going to actually do better for you in the long run and for the next day when you're actually doing the workout. An intra-workout shake, like you're drinking it during, I at least would just chug it the entire workout, and then I would get post-workout and have nothing, and I would have to wait until I would eat. You're never actually repairing any damage that's done in the workout. So what I would do is a post-workout shake of like protein and some sort of carb source. I encourage and tell most of my clients to do cyclic dection, which is a highly branched complex carb source. It's going to be more likely to go into replenishing those glycogen storages that were used into a workout, and then have a post-workout meal. That's going to be your best bet to actually repairing damage done into a workout. Once we work out, we want that cortisol to go back down. So for those of you guys who work out in the evenings and then try to go to bed and you can't sleep, that's because you still have cortisol just flowing through your body. So you really want to use carbohydrates to turn off that response. Post-workout shake or post-workout meal is going to do way better of a job than that kind of pre-workout, intra-workout shake is going to do for you, especially just in a typical either like bro sesh, Orange Theory, CrossFit class, or you're just kind of going to the gym for like 45 minutes. You're going to benefit way more that way than just doing an intra-workout shake. So at this point, it's been almost 30 minutes. So I only went through 2 questions, but they were really, really, really good questions. So I'm going to save the rest of them for next week. And I'll also send you guys a DM. If you did ask me a question, I will make sure that question is answered for you. Before I go, I will answer one more question that was asked. And I actually really like this, so I might do this every single week. And the question was, what is something unknown about me that isn't health or fitness related, or nutrition related? So one of them is well known if you do know me. So sorry, I'm gonna not make anyone's day if you know me pretty well. But it's a really cool fun fact because I've done some weird stuff in my life, and hopefully you guys will learn how weird of jobs I've had, especially in the past like 2 years. So I just graduated in May with my master's in biomedical sciences. Sounds super fancy. Literally, I got a master's because I milked mice. So that's kind of my fun fact that not many people know about me is I, for 2 years, milked mice. The reason for that is because my project was on women who have low milk supply. So it's women who have given birth and they don't have enough milk to breastfeed their babies. In any sort of, you're in the research field, human studies and clinical studies are really hard to get approval for, and they almost always need some sort of model system backing up the reason why we want to go into a clinical study. So you have to do like cells or animal studies of something along those lines. So we had cells and mice, but my project was trying to find a biomarker for women who don't produce enough milk. So if we're able to just measure this molecular component in milk, and that would indicate that they're going to have low milk supply, we can start supplementing, prescribing medications, kind of fix all the problems before they actually start happening, which probably help moms later on as they're breastfeeding and giving them the confidence they feel to start breastfeeding and producing enough milk for their babies. And the only reason, or the only way that you're going to assess whether a biomarker exists is to get the actual milk samples. So I had to get the milk from mice, which was our model system somehow. So I had to milk the mice, which is naturally, obviously, the answer. So yeah, I milked mice for like 2 years. It was pretty simple. It's like milking a cow, but they're upside down, and you just have to get the milk out. My friend that she always helped me because it was a 2-person job. She and I always ended up like squealing halfway through because the milk would come out way too fast and like get on our clothes, hair, or face. So I got showered with mice milk pretty regularly. But yeah, that's my fun fact of the day. That's all. I took about like 30 minutes of your time, but I really, really appreciate you listening, appreciating everything that you guys are doing. Keep following me. I couldn't thank you more. If you have any questions or any follow-up questions, just send me an email, DM me, comment on the video, let me know, and I will be sure to answer them. That's basically it. It's kind of getting dark outside, and I'm getting hungry, and I'm supposed to have tacos tonight. So I'm gonna go do that. I'm really excited. Bye.